Have you ever wondered why everyone is afraid of Experiment 16 and what it wants from Poppy to the point that she was trembling with fear and ran away? And what will happen to the children it imprisoned in Chapter 5? Everyone knows it is a terrifying creature without mercy. It was the mastermind behind the fun hour when the monsters went out of control and destroyed everything. It also got rid of the small dolls in the safe house after stealing the explosives. It builds its body from dead flesh, just like what happened with Mommy Longlegs in Catnap. But the most important question is, what exactly does it want, and what is its new plan in Chapter 5? I will answer all these questions and more in this video. But before we begin, if you want to see the prototypes form in Chapter 5, like this video now and subscribe to the channel. At the end of Chapter 4, the prototype starts threatening Poppy, saying it will lock her in that box forever, making her extremely scared. This explains the warning messages outside her room in Chapter 1, telling you to stay away. These warnings likely come from the small dolls or those who fear Experiment 100's wrath if someone frees Poppy from the box. But why does Experiment 16 want to imprison her? After all, we know it has done many good things, like protecting children from experiments and eliminating evil scientists. The answer to this question is found in Chapter 4, where we see that some small dolls are innocent and don't want to attack us, while others do. For example, the Dough Man consists of 3 children, Jack, Kevin, and Matthew, who were experimented on and fused into one doll. Matthew is the leader who plans to protect everyone and moves around. Jack is the jokester who laughs and jokes at different times. And Kevin is the child who cannot control his anger and transforms into a terrifying monster after failing to protect his family in the safe house. This isn't the first time we've seen a character undergo a strange transformation. In Chapter 2, Mommy Longlegs was somewhat peaceful. She had many chances to attack us but chose not to. However, after we completed all the tests and defeated her allies, like Bunzo Bunny, PJ Pugapillar, and the Mini Huggies, she went insane and transformed into a terrifying monster. If you look closely, you'll notice her eyes became larger, just like what happened to the Dough Man when their eyes turned red. This strongly suggests that seemingly peaceful monsters become horrifying due to the red gas, lack of food, or traumatic events before and after Fun Hour. As for Kissy Missy, Stella Graber, the Playtime Company Playcare director, mentioned that the pink doll felt safe and comfortable in her room. She sometimes wanted to talk to the children and other dolls and roam the factory freely. This prevented her from turning into a mindless monster. This raises the question, if harsh conditions turn dolls into bloodthirsty creatures, why didn't Poppy become one? The shocking answer is, she actually did. Many people noticed that her eyes changed significantly, becoming red. This is easy to see at the end of Chapter 3 and even in Chapter 2, when she was freed from the spiderweb. Her eyes looked very different from the start of the game. The only reason she didn't transform like the others is that she was locked in the box, away from everything, sleeping the entire time while Huggy Wuggy guarded her room and attacked anyone who tried to enter. But after we freed her, we ruined the prototype's plan, and Poppy began her transformation from a harmless doll into a mindless monster. You might think that's all, but what's hidden is even more terrifying. According to one of the recorded tapes featuring a conversation between the prototype and Harley Sawyer, we learned that Experiment 16 has been conducting scientific research for a long time. It kept Harley Sawyer alive because he was one of the smartest scientists in the factory, a skilled surgeon, and the mastermind behind the Big Bodies program. But what does Experiment 16 want from these studies? Perhaps it wants to reverse the process, turning dolls back into human bodies or transferring brains into other bodies. Either way, Experiment 16 doesn't hate Poppy. It wants to protect her from the other monsters and prevent her from becoming one of them. Don't forget, it loves orphan children and protects them. In fact, it once sacrificed his chance to escape the factory to save Theodore Gramble, a child who turned into Catnap after suffering a severe injury and an electric shock. But why does everyone fear and hate it? And what explains its violent actions, like eliminating Catnap at the end of Chapter 3? The answer may lie in an old theory that might reveal its true story and real plan in Chapter 5. The theory suggests that Experiment 16 is actually the factory owner, Ludo, This would explain many things about Playtime Co.'s story and the events of Chapter 4. Ludow loved his work, and some information suggests that the only reason he delved into scientific experiments was his desire to bring his daughter back to life after she died under mysterious circumstances. This is confirmed by a secret tape where Poppy says she misses her father, who was the best at running the factory and designing dolls. This explains why he kept working on experiments and collaborating with Harley despite their hatred for each other. If his goal is to save his daughter, he wants to prevent Poppy from turning into a monstrous doll and losing her mind over time outside the box while facing terrifying challenges. Everyone knows that Experiment 16's main goal for Fun Hour was to stop the cruel experiments on children. After successfully taking control of Playtime Co., it prevented the monsters from leaving, placing Huggy Wuggy near the main door to stop anyone from entering or leaving the factory. At first, Poppy disliked this plan and wanted to escape this nightmare forever. But after some time, and after the prototype forced her to stay locked in the box, she realized that the plan was good. They couldn't leave the factory in their large doll forms because they would be at great risk and subjected to more experiments by scientists outside. Huggy Wuggy, Mommy Longlegs, and Catnap all worked with Experiment 16 to protect Poppy from us. Huggy tried to stop us from reaching her room, Mommy gave us the train code to leave the factory, and Catnap warned her multiple times to stay out of the playcare area. Now I want to know your opinion. Do you think Experiment 16 is good, despite everything it did in Playtime Co.? And if it really is Ludo, do you think it wants to protect Poppy or destroy her? Share your thoughts in the comments. I read all your comments and theories. Thank you, and see you soon.